Association. Please follow the following instructions during the presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. I will bring them up during the presentation if necessary, or we will also have time for questions at the end. And to keep the quality of sound functional, please mute yourself during the presentation. Now, without further delay, we will turn the time over to our presenter. Our presenter today is Mr. Vishal Teja from Hyderabad, studying BTech 4th year in the Department of Electrical Engineering, NIT Andhra Pradesh. Right now, he is having total of 6 research publications, in which 3 are in reputed SCI journal, 2 in IEEE conference proceedings, and a book chapter in Elsevier. He worked with more than 4 professors across the India, and he completed research internship at IIT Raipur. His areas of research are time series forecasting applications, power system state estimation, and ecliptic season prediction. Now, Mr. Vishal will start his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Vishal Teja. Please stand with me.
Yeah, thank you for such wonderful introduction. So let's get into the presentation. So myself, Kosana Vishal Teja from Department of Electrical Engineering, NIT Andhra Pradesh. So today's topic is research paper. In this presentation, I will let you know A to Z about the research paper, how it get published, how we can send to journal or conference. So everything will be covered in this presentation. Coming to the definition, so according to me, a research paper is a written work which involves the process of researching, critical thinking, developing novel architecture, model evaluation, composition, and organization. So this definition will be clearly understood by the end of this presentation. So roadmap to draft research paper. So how to start the research work like at any point of time. So there are 5 different steps are available to start a research work or research paper. The first step is identifying the problem statement. First, we need to identify a problem statement. This problem statement can be from your academical branch, or it can be like a general topic such as forecasting, stock forecasting, or it can be anything. But the problem statement should be valid and it should have some practical application in the real time. So then only the problem statement will have some research going on, and then our research paper would get excel if you are doing something new in that particular problem statement. So this should be kept in the mind while selecting the problem statement. And the second one is literature survey. So coming to literature survey, so now we have selected the problem statement. So what to do next? We need to do the survey. So we need to go into the googlescholar.com, and there we need to type our problem statement. So we will get different types of research paper which were written by different professors across the world. So first we need to start from the basic paper. Suppose if I am doing a time series forecasting application, my basic paper would be based on using machine learning approaches. So that would be the basic paper. First we need to download that, we need to read it clearly, and then we need to start from different types of approaches. So for example, in the time series forecasting, the approaches are divided into different types. For example, physical approach, statistical approach, or AI based or machine learning or hybrid approaches. So what we have to do here is we need to collect all the research papers that are published in our selected problem statement in either past 2 or 3 years. Preferably past 3 years, we should read all those papers, and we need to understand 2 things here. The first thing is what are the state of the art approaches available in our problem statement, and the second thing is what are the demerits available in the available current literature. So these 2 things should be understood in this literature survey, because after doing the literature survey, is my screen visible? Hello? Now is it visible?
Yeah, it will off. Yeah.
So we are at the step 2, literature survey. So in the literature survey, we need to understand all the basic approaches available in the current existing literature, and we need to understand two things here. The first thing is what are the state of the art approaches available in our problem statement, and the second one is what are the demerits available in the current literature. So if we are having no demerits, then doing the research in that area is invalid, because there is no point of doing research and we are improving the performance without having any demerits available. So these two things should be understood in this step 2. And the step 3, first we need to implement the state of the art approaches. For example, if I take time series forecasting. So in the time series forecasting, state of the art approaches are recurrent neural networks such as GRU or LSTM. First we need to apply the problem statement using those state of the art approaches. So then we will understand what are the demerits available for this state of the art approaches in our problem statement. So then we would be having an idea how to improve the performance of these state of the art approaches for proposing a novel architecture. So after completing the step 3, we need to directly jump into the step 4. Here we need to develop a novel architecture. Novel means new architecture, and it should not be existing literature, and it should also able to solve any one of the demerits available in the current literature. So there is no rule that it should solve all the demerits available, but it should solve at least one of the demerits available in the current literature. So we need to develop our novel architecture in such a way that it should be able to address the demerit. So by doing the novel architecture, it is not done, because I have developed a novel architecture which is not present in the research in the literature till now, but the performance of this novel architecture is not better than the existing state of the art approaches. Then my novel architecture doesn't make any sense, because whatever we are proposing, the performance should be better than the available state of the art approaches. Then only my novel architecture makes some sense. So for that reason, we need to perform the evaluation using different performance indices, and we should compare the proposed architecture with the state of the art approach performance, and then we need to see how much improvement is there for the proposed approach over the state of the art approaches, and we need to also see how much improvement is there for the proposed approach over the existing available models in the current literature. So I said in the literature survey, we need to see all the robust models available. So we need to also implement those models in our research paper, and then we need to compare that our proposed model with those models as well as with the state of the art approaches. Then only I can say that my proposed novel architecture is having the ability to address the demerits of the current literature, and it is also having dominant performance over the available models in the literature. So these 5 steps should be followed whenever you want to start a research work. So after we have developed the novel architecture, we have compared, we did all the evaluation indices, we evaluated our proposed model and we validated it. So next step is to start writing a research paper. So now we are having our model, so we need to start writing the research paper. So there are different types of sections available in research paper. So the most common sections are, first section should be always the abstract or summary. So it should briefly introduce the reader, the aims of the study, methodology, results and findings. So we should not write a lengthy abstract. It should be like a very crisp, and it should only indicate what we have done, how much improvement we got, and which model we have used. So it should be around 200 to 250 words only. And then we need to start writing the introduction. In the introduction, we need to first define the research questions of the study, and then we need to give the background of our problem statement, so that the people will understand why we are going for this particular problem statement. So what is the need for doing the research in this problem statement? Everything should be covered in the background section in the introduction. So after writing the theoretical background of the problem statement, we need to start writing literature review. So this literature review plays a very crucial role when you are submitting the research paper to a journal or a conference. So first we need to start writing from the basic approaches available in the problem statement. For example, we will take the same example, time series forecasting. In the time series forecasting, the basic approach which was first developed was physical approach. So then we got statistical approach, then we got AI machine learning based, then deep learning based, then hybrid, then ensemble, then reinforcement learning based. So we should write the literature's review in such a way that first we need to write about the physical approaches and what are the physical approaches proposed and what are the disadvantages of those physical approaches. Then we need to start writing about the statistical approaches and we need to list out the disadvantages. Then we need to write about the AI based and we need to list out the disadvantages of the AI based approaches. So after writing all those issues, so we are writing in a stepwise manner. So the disadvantages of physical approaches is getting solved by statistical. The demerits of statistical is getting solved by AI based. So in that way, we are at the final we will be having some demerits which are not yet solved by the deep learning or machine learning approaches. So that would be the main issues and controversies that are present in our problem statement. So our research is focusing on addressing those issues which are available in the present literature. So then afterward we need to write about the methodology. Here we need to describe about the working of the proposed architecture, and we need to present the mathematical analysis, and we need to present everything what we are doing in the proposed architecture. So methodology plays a very crucial role in the research paper. Suppose if you are developing something novel which was not already present, but you're not writing about it in a correct way, then whoever is reviewing your research paper, definitely he won't understand what you have done and he will directly reject your paper. So that thing should not be present. So we need to write the methodology part as best as possible. So after writing the methodology, the next part would be results and discussion. This is also very important part of the research paper. We need to justify that my proposed model is giving the best results than the existing approaches. So in the results and discussions, we need to perform different experimental analysis and we need to present all the experimental results using some performance indices. For example, if you are doing the regression analysis, then we need to include all the MSC, MAE, RMSC and R square scores. So like that we need to select some performance indices and we need to compare those indices of the proposed approach with all the available models. We need to take some around 5 to 6 comparative approaches and one approach should be our proposed model. So we need to present this section in such a way that my proposed approach is always giving the best result than all the comparative models available, because that is the reason I am proposing this approach for identifying the issues of the literature. So in that way we need to justify and validate our proposed approach so that whoever is reviewing or whoever is reading a research paper, they will clearly understand that okay, this is the reason this paper is getting accepted. This is the reason they propose this approach for solving the challenges. So this section plays a very important role, and the last section would be conclusion. In the conclusion, it should be very crisp and it should summarize all your findings and highlight the significance of our study. This should be the first part of the conclusion, and the last part of the conclusion would be the future work, because whatever you are proposing, it may be ideal one and it may have some disadvantages. So we need to indicate that what are the limitations of the study, and we need to also indicate how this limitation can be improved and where the future research is needed. In this conclusion, at the last 2 or 3 lines, we need to write the future work will focus on improving the proposed approach using some so and so method. So in this way, we need to conclude the research paper. So these 6 sections would be mandatorily available in your research paper. And one more important thing is we should not plagiarize our content. So we should not plagiarize anything from the existing research papers, and we should not copy exactly whatever available in the internet or in the research papers. What will happen if you plagiarize? Suppose if you plagiarize the content, then case 1, definitely your research paper would get rejected, and the case 2, definitely you will face some legal issues, because all the research papers would be having some copyright things, and so if you copy without citing their, without taking the permission of those research papers, definitely you will face some legal issues. So again, the plagiarism should always be lesser than 15 or 20% for the journal and around 25% for the conference paper. Suppose if it is more than 15%, then the editor will definitely reject the paper without even sending to the review. So it should be kept in the mind while you are writing the research paper. You can copy, suppose if I am writing about something, it should not be like if I'm writing about MSc, the formula will remain same everywhere. So in that case, there will be no problem. Suppose if I'm writing a sentence which a paragraph which I have taken from one already published research paper, then definitely it will be an issue for us. So that thing should not be present in the paper. So try to maintain the plagiarism limit to only 15% when you are submitting for a journal. So that is ideal case, and it can be around 20%, but try to maintain only 15% plagiarism. So we have written the research paper. So what is the next step? We need to submit the research paper for different types of publications. We are having around 3 types of publications. The first one is conference publication, journal publication, book chapter publication. Suppose if my work is very novel and my work has the capability in the real-time applications, then definitely I should always prefer journal publications only, because journals will look out the novelty of the research paper, and they will also look out the practical applications of the implemented study. So if that is the case, you should always go for journal publication. So, and the next one is conference publication. In the conference publication, so there is some twist, because every conference will be held in January or December for around 3 days. So they will be having some deadline for submitting the research paper. Suppose if the conference is going to be held at January, then the deadline will be at nearly June or July. So we need to submit the research paper before the deadline only. So if we submit it after the deadline, then they won't accept our research paper. So that is one reason. And the second one is, if your paper is accepted for the conference, then you should and must present your research paper in the conference that would be held in the January or December. So you need to present your research paper in the form of presentation, and after the presentation only, they will publish your research paper in either IEEE conference, IEEE proceedings, or elsewhere proceedings. So these two differentiates both the conference and journal publication. And in the journal, there are 2 types of papers. First one is regular paper, and the second one is review paper. Regular papers are normal research paper. Like if we are doing some problem statement, we implemented something and we have sent the research paper, then it is regular paper. Review papers, I said second step should be literature survey. So what these review papers will be having is, they will perform all the literature survey of all the existing approaches for the around past 5 or 10 years, and they will present everything in the review paper. So if I want to start my research in computer vision, like cattle identification, then I will simply take this review paper of cattle identification, and I will read it, and I will understand what are the state-of-the-art approaches, what are the available approaches, what is the accuracy, and how the future work is going to move. So where the research is going on, how the research is going on. So like that, I can get all the insights by reading a research paper without doing any literature survey. So in this way, the review papers are helpful. And the next one is book chapter publication. Suppose if you have implemented something, like theoretically you know about the proposed work, but practically you may or you may not implemented it, then you should refer the book chapter. Like everything values, like everything has some particular weightage, but general publications have more weightage than this conference and book chapter. So it should start from journal, conference, and at the last it should be book chapter publication. So now we have submitted our research paper to a journal or a conference. Then what is the next step that would happen? So we submitted to a journal. Then what will happen is, the editor will be there. For every journal, one editor-in-chief will be there, and that editor will check for the plagiarism, first one, and he will check for the format, the second one. So if our research paper is satisfying both conditions, then definitely it will go for review, and it will be sent to the reviewers across the world. Most of the reviewers will be from China or Japan, so it will be sent to them, and after reading the research paper, and they will indicate some responses back to the journal editor. So they may be like, this study is novel and it can be accepted, or it is very waste and we cannot accept it. So there are two cases. The reviewers can recommend my paper with some revision, and they directly reject it because it is waste, like it doesn't have the worth that to be published in the journal. So directly it will be rejected and it will send to the authors and reject. If they have given some revisions, it will be sent to the authors back, and the authors should ensure that they are modifying according to the revisions given, and they should also submit the response to reviewers answering each and every question of those reviewers, and they need to send again to the journal editor, and they will again share to the reviewers, and again they will check, and if there are any revisions they will again send back. In this way the study, the loop will continue, and finally if both the reviewers and if both the reviewers and editor-in-chief are satisfied, then definitely it will be get accepted and it will be sent to the production office. So in this way the publication process works. So like this is the sample acceptance mail. So our paper was published in Electric Power System Research. It is one of the top journal in elsewhere. So here they are giving that I am pleased to confirm that your paper has been accepted for publication. So your accepted publication will be transferred to our production department and work will begin on the creation of proof. So what will happen is they will send our research paper to the production department, and they will keep everything in their format, and they will send us the proof. We need to read the proof correctly, and we need to ensure if there are any corrections required, we need to correct them, or if everything is perfect, then we need to submit the proof and it will be published within 1 week. So in this way the final acceptance mail will be present. Suppose if it is not final acceptance, here it will be like, I am pleased to inform you that your paper can be accepted only if you change the if you modify the manuscript according to the comments from the reviewers. So here the comments will be present. We need to check them and we need to modify our manuscript. So this is sample response to reviewers. So my research paper was reviewed by around 4 or 5 reviewers across the world, and they have the first reviewer. What they have written is, the proposed method is interesting and innovative in the field of forecast. Logic is clear for the whole paper, but still he is having some problem that need to be addressed in my research paper. So he has given some questions. So I need to answer all the questions in a polite way. If I am answering the questions in a very rude manner or like in something manner, definitely he will directly research paper. So always we need to thank the anonymous reviewer for the insightful comments. So then we need to answer the question. So the politeness should be always present while you are submitting the response to reviewer's file. So in this way there will be some different questions available, and we need to address all these questions, and we need to modify our research paper, and it should indicate here. So performance is compared in section 4.2 of the revised manuscript that is being uploaded into the journal website. So we need to indicate where we have changed this thing in our research paper that is going to be submitted. So this is how the sample response to reviewer comments will look like. So then there are different types of publishers are available, like IEEE, elsewhere, Wiley, Springer, Taylor and Francis. In each publisher there are some quite good journals. Like in IEEE there are transaction journals, like Transaction on Smart Grid, Transaction on Sustainable Energy. So in elsewhere also like EPSR is there, like in that only my paper was accepted. And in Wiley there is a journal called ITEES, it is #1 journal, and in Springer it is neural computing. So like this, in every publisher there would be some good journals available for one particular branch. For I said only for the EEE branch. I don't know about other branches. So in this way, we have five different publishers, and there are two types of journal. First journal is open access journal. So in the open access journal, the same process is there, but so after this mail, we need to pay around 1,50,000 for the journal to get our paper published in the online. So that is the only difference between open access and subscription based. You need to pay around 1,50,000 in the open access journal. And the main advantage for this is the reach for our research paper would be very high if it is getting published in the open access. So it is the only advantage of open access, and it will be accepted faster than the subscription based. And the second one is subscription based research journals. So here we do not need to pay any single NP for publishing. They will publish our research paper for free. But the thing is, publishing in subscription based research papers is very difficult. Like nowadays, every journal is getting converted into open access. So for that reason, the subscription based journals are becoming too tough for getting accepted. So we need to send only the quality research paper for this subscription based journal. In this way, there are two types of journals are available. So my current research areas are time series forecasting, like probably wind speed forecasting and solar irradiance forecasting. The second one is power system state estimation. And the third one is epilepsy prediction using EEG signals. So currently I'm working on these three areas. And these are some of the invitations I got based on my research paper. This one, involved in fourth online model selection using Q-learning technique for wind speed prediction. So I already said, if your work is very good, you will get definitely the recognition across the globe. So this novel reinforcement online model selection is like it is the first paper that will be published in the wind speed forecasting application. Ours is the first paper for addressing the local variation of the wind speed. So that is the reason I got all these invitations. So they are asking me to deliver my lecture about this research paper in the conference. So they also ensured that they will provide everything, accommodation cost, traveling charges, everything will be free. I just need to go there and I need to present my research paper. If your work is very good, definitely you'll get all this invitation like this. So this is also one of the invitation I got from second international conference on biofuels, and this is also based on the same research paper. So they are asking me to present my research work at the conference, and it is also based on the same research paper. So one of the top journal applied scientists sent me an invitation for submitting my research paper publication in this area. From the editor I got the invitation. So if your work is very good, definitely you will get all these invitations like this. So please ensure that you are always thinking out of the box in whatever problem statement you're doing. Then you will get recognition across the globe. So these two are my guides. So I have been working with Dr. Kiran Tripathi sir from around 3-1. Like I started working with him on scissor prediction on like 3-1. I started doing work in August, and we submitted my first research paper in August, and also my book chapter was submitted in November. So in January 2021, he has given me a problem statement, that is wind speed forecasting, and I have implemented my work, and Kiran sir has impressed with my work, and he immediately referred me to Dr. Santosh sir. Like he is currently at now USA Charlotte. So after referring me, and Santosh sir also impressed with my work, and from January 2021 to till now, we three have been working on the research paper, different research areas. So this is all about the research paper. I hope you understood clearly the information about the research paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vishal, for giving your valuable insights on research paper. So with that, we will go ahead and take some time for questions. So Mr. Vishal, could you please tell us about your journey in research?
about my journey, like I have started doing the research. Like for all these things, there are three main people are involved. The first was my brother. So when we went to home for COVID holidays, at that time I wasted around one month, 1.5 months by seeing all the web series. Then I asked my brother to give his resume. Like he was placed already, and I took his resume and I also prepared my resume, my own resume. And then when I saw my resume and my compared with my brother's resume, there was nothing in my resume and there was many things in my brother's resume. So then I went to my brother and like I was very I got a feeling that I am from NIT and if I don't have any skills, definitely no one will hire me and people will laugh at me because even though studying in NIT, I'm not getting the job. It will be like a fun situation among us. So I went to my brother and I asked him. So then he has given a glimpse of all the things present in his resume, like web development, HTML, CSS. Then I understood everything. I thought previously I used to think that as I am from EEA, I cannot do all these things. It is not possible for me to do the things. So then after my brother has taught all these things, I understood very clearly and I thought, okay, I can also manage these things and I can also do. So like that, I have started learning Python, MATLAB, IoT. So there, the second the second thing was happened. So when I started learning IoT, I got one idea, scissor prediction using machine learning. Then immediately I have informed that idea to my guide Kiran sir. Then surprisingly, like I informed him casually, but surprisingly he said, "Okay, Vishal, it is a good idea. I would like to join you. If you're having no problem, then we can both do the work on this project. And if it is good, then we can submit the research paper based on the same idea." So in that way, I and Kiran sir started working, and I did all the work fastly, and we submitted the research paper in August of 2020. Then after a few months, we got an invitation for submitting to book chapter. So there also we submitted an abstract and they were impressed and they asked us to submit a full book chapter. And the full book chapter, I written around 50 pages for a book chapter with around 5% plagiarism. So we submitted it and they accepted it. So in that way, the two things happened in the scissor prediction. And in the January 2021, one more day has happened. Like he has given me wind speed forecasting. I developed a model based on the wind speed forecasting. I don't know that whatever I developed is novel one and it is not present in the existing literature. I simply shared a PDF of results to Kiran sir and he was very impressed. Like he was very surprised seeing the result and he immediately sent the results to the Santosh sir in the January 2021. And Santosh sir was also very impressed because whatever I have implemented at that point of time, it was very novel one. But I don't know that it was very novel until the Santosh sir has said, because Santosh sir is from in-speed forecasting area only. So he immediately said that we need to start the research work immediately and we need to submit the research paper because the first sir, we need to submit the research paper first, otherwise others will get the same idea and our work will not be like a novel. In that way, I started writing the research paper and immediately like within 5 days, I completed the research paper and I submitted to Santosh sir and he was very surprised because for writing a research paper when he was in the PhD, it took around 1.5 months for him to complete the research paper. But I written in only 5 days, so he was very impressed. And from then, we submitted the research paper on around January 15 or 16. From then, we started working the wind speed forecasting area. And till now, we have addressed each and every issue present in the available literature. And right now, we stopped at using the reinforcement approaches for the wind speed forecasting. So in this way, my journey has started. And in the middle of my journey, I met many professors across India and I spoke with many professors. I worked with one of the professors from IIIT Raipur and he was also impressed. In this way, it was happened, and right now I'm in front of you after doing all those things. So this is all about the journey.
That's really great. Will you please tell us how you managed to do these many research papers and publications in a short span?
So, one second. So when I was doing my research, I had some goals to pursue. Like the main goal for me is to, like, I asked my current sir about, like, sir, if I become the PhD, like if I get the PhD doctorate, how the life will be. He explained everything, and there is one advantage for us after the PhD, like after the BTech, we can directly pursue the PhD even after the BTech because we are from NIT. We do not need to have any CADE score or anything. Just we need to have some CGPA. So that was my aim. Like I thought that I will be doing PhD after the BTech. So if I'm having some research paper before that, I may get the seat easily. So in that way I thought, and I did all the work based on that only. And one example is, like, I started doing research internship at IIIT in Raipur. At that time, my research internship was started at May 15th, but we were having some initial presentation meeting on around May 7th or May 8th. So there I have proposed a problem statement based on reinforcement learning. So he was also very impressed, and the sir was also very impressed, and so I worked very hard for 1 week, and I completed everything, results part, proposed implementation part, everything, and I submitted my research, like all the results by the May 15th. The May 15th is the starting of the internship, but I completed everything. I submitted my all the results part to my guides by the May 15th. So in that way, I was working very hard. So to pursue to attain different goals in my life. So eventually the goals are changed. First I thought to become PhD with a stipend of 31,000. Then I started thinking about PMRF. So first, if you are having some research paper, you will be selected in the PMRF where you will be getting around 75,000 stipend for every month, and you will also be pursuing PhD in IITs. So it is almost equal to an IT job, but additionally you will be getting the doctorate also. So then I thought doing that PMRF. I worked very hard, keeping that in my mind. Then after that, my goal was changed to pursuing PhD from the US. Like if I am having the research papers, I will get a free seat in the US. Everything will be provided by my guide only. I just need to put my traveling charges to go to the institution and to return back to home. So that was my goal, and luckily, I spoke with one of the professors from Washington State University through Sri Hari sir. So he ensured that he will be giving all the full aid to me after completing my BTech. So that was my goal. So after a few months, after starting the research, so I thought I will be doing PhD in the USA for the free of cost. Then my goal was shifted to getting a job of in the August, and I started working on aptitude and everything, and I placed in 2 companies. So in this way, like I worked very hard for, like I kept one goal, and the goals were eventually changed as I started knowing the value of the research. So in this way, I worked very hard.
Thank you for that. Could you please throw some light on benefits and uses of research to one's career?
Yeah, uses of research means I said just now. You will be going into higher studies with free of cost if you are having a research paper. Suppose if you are like if you are going for MS, then even a single publication in conference will be very valuable. It will add more weightage to a resume than other candidates. So having at least one publication in the conference itself is more valuable when you are going for higher studies. And the second one is PMRF in India, Prime Minister Research Fund. So you'll be getting around 25k, and simultaneously you'll be doing the PhD. So it will almost equal to an IT job at around 8.4 salary, 8.4 LPA, and these are related to the higher studies, and also coming to the placements. It will be very helpful during your interview. because like when I was interviewing by interviewer in the Deloitte company, after seeing all my research papers, he simply stopped asking the questions, and he was discussing about the research paper to me. And like I was surprised because like he said many times that I'm very thankful to you. Like I learned many things from you today by interviewing you. Like that, he said thanks to me around more than 3 or 4 times. So in that way, like after the Deloitte interview, I understood that how a research paper is valuable while going into the placement also. Then I got selected in career 15 LPA. And also one more thing is while writing the research paper, your analytical skills and communication and written skill would get improved by a huge margin, because you should write your research paper in such a way that it should be able to understandable by all the students across the globe. So if you are writing using the poor language, then it won't be understood by the reviewers. They will simply reject it. So your analytical and written communication skills will also get improved if you are doing the research papers or research work. These are like there are many advantages, but these are some of the advantages available for the research paper.
That's great and useful. The meet is now open for everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Vishal Teja one after other.
Someone has raised their hand. Vemula Saivikas.
So, good evening, sir. Actually, my doubt is like if we want to do research, is it better to do in foreign countries or like in India in IITs or like that?
According to me, the foreign country values the research more than our India, because so like, you will be having more value when you pursue research in the foreign countries. So prefer always doing research in foreign only. Like you will be having too much of opportunities. You will be getting nearly 1 crore minimum package if you are having the like you get PhD from foreign universities, and the value for doing the MS and doing PhD is around having the difference of around 10 times. So I prefer doing the PhD in the US only, like in the foreign countries itself.
So, like, what are the opportunities like after PhD in foreign countries? Like you're talking about.
You will be placed in like project labs. So you will be placed in project labs, or you can also become full-time teacher at that particular university itself, or you can be like there would be many opportunities, because USA or foreign countries values PhD students more than our India, according to me. So you'll be getting like more salaries than you are doing the MS. You can be placed as software engineer, or you can be placed in whatever. Like if you are doing in the data science, definitely your scope of getting high package is very high.
Okay, sir. Thank
All
you.
depends on.
Hello, bro.
Hello.
Can you show your best research paper?
My best research paper. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is visible, bro.
According to me, my best research work till now is this one. Like I showed all the invitations which I got for annual reinforcement online model selection using Q-learning. So we clearly mentioned in the paper like the current WSF online models are lacking the relevant literature. So ours is the first model that is developed for overcoming the local variation of wind speed. So this is my best paper, and I got like the research paper will look like this. This is the abstract, introduction part. This is literature review. And these are all the gaps in the literature. So contributions addressing the gaps. So it is table from literature survey. So it is methodology, proposed methodology. It is using graphical representation. So then results and discussions. Then finally conclusions followed like then the references part. So in this way, research paper, like any research paper, we should and must have all these things.
Thank you, bro. It's a great paper you have written.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, yeah.
Hello. So, can you tell me about what are the major problems you faced in any of your research and how was your approach to solve it?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenge I faced is during while doing this paper, like it, just now I have showed a paper. So till then we are good at deep learning approaches and hybrid deep learning approaches, but we were never into the reinforcement learning. So it was a very difficult situation for me as well as my guide. Like they were also very new into the reinforcement learning, and we are not having any reference papers according like related to our proposed approach, like using pure learning online model selection. So everything we need to do from the scratch. Like we are not having any reference paper to see how they have written the paper. Like how can we improve the performance? Everything was new to us, and fortunately, like me with the help of my guides, and like I completed doing the work, and we have submitted it. And the good thing was it was accepted in only like 1.5 months only. It got accepted and it got published. So mostly the research papers, if your work is very novel, then the acceptance and publishing time is very less. Suppose your work is okay, not up to that level of novelty, then the publishing time and acceptance would vary. So you will be having different multiple rounds of reviews, and you'll be having around 4 to 5 reviews. So the loop will continue around 4 or 5 times. But if your work is very good and if you have presented everything, definitely your paper will get accepted after the first review itself. Our paper was accepted after the first review itself. So that's why it was my biggest challenge while doing the research, and it was my best work till now.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi, hello.
I have two questions for you. The first question is like, is there any limit for writing a research paper or journal or a book chapter regarding the pages, the limit for the pages? And the second thing is, how exactly the background of the paper should look like? Can you explain, sir?
Background in the sense?
Means the borders of the paper, particular paper you're going to put.
Okay, so the number of papers would vary for different types of journal. If you are going for IEEE transaction, the maximum number of pages should be always equal to or less than 8 pages. If you are going for elsewhere publication, then there is no limit, but you need to decrease the number of pages around 25 or 30. If you are going for IEEE, it will be like a 2-column paper, and it should always be equal to 8 pages. If you are going for book chapter, there is no limit for the papers. I have written around 50-page book chapter, and it was reduced to around 41 or 42 pages. And if you are going to submit for a conference, then the number of papers should always be equal to 6 pages. So there is a limit for conference. If you want to add one more paper, you have to pay around 15,000 or 20,000 for the conference. And coming to the layout of the research paper, every journal will have its own format. So based on that format only, you need to submit the research paper. So I'll show you the format. Like my screen is visible, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
Like I wrote everything in the latex. Latex is software that is useful for drafting the research paper. So you will be getting all these files like this BBL, AUX, and these are all the syntax files you will be getting from that particular journal. And for elsewhere, you need to present in this way. So this is the format for submitting to the elsewhere. So it is very user friendly and there is no need of doing all the manual work. It will be like HTML software only, this latex one. So this is the format for the journal submission for elsewhere. And coming to IEEE, so it should look like this, 2-column one, and it should be lesser than 6 pages. This 2-column one, and it should be always lesser than 6 pages. This is the format for IEEE. So all the things will be available in the format file only. You have to simply download it and you need to replace all the contents based on your research work. And if you go for Wiley, it will basically look like this, single column like this. So abstract will look like this. It is the title, author names, date of publication, received date, abbreviation. So it will be look like this. And coming to the Springer journal, so it is basically like this. You just need to change this abstract or all the things while you are doing in their given template file. Everything will be adjusted according to the template only. Different journal will be having different formats. You just need to download that from their website only. I guess I have cleared your doubt.
Hi, sir. What would be your suggestion to a person thinking to start research work or get into research field?
So my suggestion would be first make your basics very strong and understand the problem statement in a better way. You should always understand the problem statement, and first you need to implement using state-of-the-art approaches. After implementing using state-of-the-art approaches only, then you can proceed for the further research. Basically, you need to be very strong theoretically and analytically for that given problem statement. So then only you should and must start the research work.
So how can I find any problem statement like that? Like
It's
if we are
basically
out of
depended on. Okay.
if we are out of ideas or any like lack of any product statement, so how can we find that to start research work?
It's basically dependent on you. Suppose if you are not having any idea, you can simply like if you're going to work with some professor as a guide, then you need to look at their interested areas and their published papers, and so then you need to understand how their published papers were looking like. You need to understand their problem statement, so that then directly after understanding problem statement, you can directly contact your guide. You both were sharing the common problem statement and common ideas, so your work will become easy. If you're if you're going for the internship also, you should always focus on their problem statements only, their research area interest. So then you need to start doing the research work. They need to apply using a mail that we both share a common problem both share the common interest. So I want to work under your guidance. So carrying out my research, then definitely that particular professor will accept your proposal, and he will take you under him as a research intern. It is one of the way, like if you are not having any idea for the problem statement.
So how can we find the respective technology stack to implement that, Vishal?
Definitely, you should always go for googlescholar.com. In the googlescholar.com, if you just simply type your problem statement, you will be having many research papers. There you need to see how they solve the particular problem statement using technologies. In that way, you need to manage.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay, presently, what are your research papers? On you working on?
I'm working on 3 different areas. The first one is wind speed forecasting. Second one is power system state estimation. And third one is about scissor prediction using double EEG signals. So these 3 are my current research areas.
Okay, on what domain those are belong to?
I know only artificial intelligence and signal processing techniques. So most of my
Okay.
research were depended on AI only.
AI, okay.
I would like to announce some small thing. I'm forming some research group in our institution. So if anyone is interested in joining, like I will be guiding you for doing the research work. If you are interested in doing so, you can contact me at any time. Like you will be under like I will be like your mentor, and Kiran sir would be like the final guide for us. So we will be doing research on different areas according to your wish.
Thank you, Vishal, for your suggestion. I think we have come to the end of our session. I would like to thank everyone who made this meeting possible, and I thank Mr. Vishal Teja for his presentation. Thank you all once again for joining us today. We hope to see you again next time. Now you are good to go.